Ladies and gentlemen, the strongest minds I've encountered were not the loudest in the room. They were not those who boasted of their plans, nor those who rushed to announce their every move. No, the winners I have studied, the men and women who shaped industries and influenced nations, walked in silence while building their dreams brick by brick. You see, it is easy to talk. It takes no courage to share an idea, but it takes discipline, control, and unwavering faith to hold it within, to nurture it in silence, and to act upon it without the need for applause. Winners stay quiet because they understand one truth: the more you speak of your goals, the more energy you give away, and energy, my friends, is the currency of achievement. A mind filled with chatter cannot build a tower. A man chasing praise loses sight of purpose. When you speak too soon, you invite doubt, distraction, and the influence of opinions that were never meant to shape your destiny. The winner knows this, and so he chooses silence, not out of fear, but out of strength. Silence is not emptiness, it is focus, it is self-trust, it is preparation. While others boast, and seek validation, the quiet one wakes before dawn, studies the game, sharpens the tools, and keeps building. The world may call it mystery or arrogance, but in truth it is mastery. The quiet achiever understands that results are louder than declarations. When the work is done, the results will speak, and when they do, they will not whisper. They will roar, they will silence every critic and eclipse every doubt. So if you have a vision, protect it. If you carry a dream, guard it. Let the world see your work, not your words. That is the way of the true winner. That is the strength of staying quiet. Winners, the true architects of success, understand a principle that eludes the common man. Silence is not weakness. Silence is strength under control. It is the unseen power that drives their focused determination. While others talk, announce, and spread their intentions like leaves in the wind, the winner chooses to hold their vision close. They do not need to broadcast their every move to the world because they are not building for applause. They are building for legacy. In the early stages of any worthy pursuit, silence becomes the armor that shields the dreamer from the arrows of doubt and ridicule. Every goal worth chasing starts fragile, like a seed in soil, and like that seed, it requires solitude, protection, and the right environment to grow. Winners know that exposing a dream too early to public opinion can be like planting a seed on a concrete floor. Too many voices, too many questions, and too many distractions can crush an idea before it even begins to take root. The quiet achiever is not quiet because they lack confidence. On the contrary, their silence is born from deep internal certainty. They do not need validation to confirm the worth of their mission. They have already done the inner work. They have already made the decision that this pursuit is theirs, regardless of the noise around them. And so they work, quietly, patiently, and relentlessly, while others are still debating what to do or waiting for permission to act. There is a powerful clarity that comes when a man works in silence. His energy is not scattered by trying to convince others. His vision is not diluted by outside opinions. His focus is not broken by the need to explain himself. He is free to follow his own compass, guided not by the winds of public approval, but by the deep current of purpose flowing within him. This is the essence of discipline, the quiet adherence to a goal despite the distractions, the opinions, and the temptations to be seen before one is ready. It is often said that a lion does not need to announce that it is a lion. The same is true for winners. They do not need to announce their plans or seek constant affirmation. They are not concerned with the appearance of progress. They are concerned only with real progress, and real progress is made in silence. It is built in early mornings, long nights, and in the countless hours where no one is watching and no one is applauding. It is built in the shadows before it ever steps into the light. When you study the lives of those who achieved greatness, you will notice a common thread. Their greatest moves were made in silence. Their most pivotal moments were forged in solitude. They did not need the world to cheer for them. They were too busy preparing. They were too focused on the mountain ahead to worry about who was watching from the valley below. And when they did emerge, when their results finally came into view, they did not need to explain themselves. The results spoke for them. The results made the noise that they never had to. This power of silence also acts as a filter. It separates the dreamers from the talkers. Anyone can speak of what they will do. Anyone can paint a future with their words, but only the committed are willing to remain quiet and put in the work day after day without recognition. Only the strong can resist the temptation to be seen before they are truly ready. Silence becomes the test, and only the disciplined can pass it. Winners also understand that when you speak of your goals too early or too loudly, you risk satisfying the ego before the work is done. The brain is wired in such a way that speaking about a goal can sometimes give the illusion of accomplishment. The praise you receive for the idea can trick you into thinking you've already earned the reward. But winners do not seek that premature satisfaction. They delay gratification. They trade the short-term comfort of attention for the long-term reward of achievement. They do not waste time entertaining others with dreams. They invest that time turning dreams into reality. In silence, the winner refines his craft. He sharpens his tools. He corrects his errors and builds a foundation so strong that nothing can shake it once it stands. And when the world finally sees what he has built, it is often taken as overnight success. But there is no such thing. What appears sudden to the untrained eye is the result of years of silent labor, countless sacrifices, and unbreakable focus. The quiet path is not easy. It requires strength to stay focused when no one is watching. It demands a deeper purpose than the approval of others. It requires a mindset rooted in internal validation rather than external praise. But this path, this silent path, is the path that winners walk, because they know that when you are truly committed to a mission, you have no time to waste explaining yourself. You are either building or you are not. You are either advancing or you are retreating. Talking does not move the needle. Work does. There is a power in silence that frightens the average person. It is the power of someone who cannot be manipulated by praise or criticism. It is the power of someone who moves with intention, not impulse. It is the power of someone who has trained their mind to serve the mission, not the ego. And that kind of person, the quiet winner, is the most dangerous in the room. Because they are not there to impress, they are there to conquer. Winners also understand timing. They know that silence does not mean inaction. It means preparation. It means positioning. It means laying the groundwork so that when the moment comes to strike, they are ready. The arrow is silent until it is released, and then it moves with speed and precision. In the same way, the winner's silence is the drawing back of that bow. The longer they prepare, the more force they build. And when they move, it is decisive. This silence is not passive. It is filled with motion. Behind every quiet day is 100 small victories. Waking up on time, finishing that chapter, solving that problem, pushing through resistance, practicing a skill. These victories stack up. They become a wall, a fortress that no doubt or distraction can penetrate, and all of it is built silently, out of sight, far from the noise of the crowd. Winners know that most people are not building, they are performing. They are too concerned with appearing successful rather than becoming successful. But winners do not perform, they produce, and they let their results do the performing. They do not chase praise, they chase mastery. They do not announce goals, they achieve them, and that difference, that discipline is rooted in their silence. If you look closely, you will see that silence is not a lack of expression. It is the highest form of focus. It is the environment in which self-belief is strengthened. It is the cocoon where transformation occurs. It is the field where greatness is sown, watered, and grown. And the true winner understands that to protect something valuable, it must first be hidden. Not out of fear, but out of respect for the process, out of respect for what it will become. The winner stays quiet because the dream is sacred. The goal is not a topic for casual conversation. It is a mission. And missions require discipline. They require patience. They require the wisdom to know when to speak and when to act, and more often than not, the winner chooses to act. They do not seek applause before the performance. They do not need a crowd to move forward. Their motivation comes from within. Their reward is the work itself, the progress made, and the vision that drives them forward. Silence is not their strategy, it is their nature. It is their truth. It is the space where they become unstoppable. There is a quiet power that only the disciplined understand, a stillness that guards the sacred dream, that preserves the vision from the contamination of doubt and the corrosion of distraction. The greatest achievements in human history were not created in noisy rooms filled with voices pulling in every direction. They were shaped in silence, in solitude, under the influence of undisturbed focus. The winner, the builder, the visionary, he understands that to protect his dream he must protect his attention, and to protect his attention he must embrace the quiet. When a man decides to pursue a dream, he steps onto a path that few dare to walk. This path is not crowded, not because it is hidden, but because it demands a level of concentration that most are unwilling to give. The average person is consumed by distractions. Their mind is pulled apart by trivialities, by gossip, by other people's opinions, by endless noise. But the winner understands the rare value of focused thought. He knows that scattered energy builds nothing. A diffused mind produces mediocrity. It is only when the mind is narrowed, when it is aimed like a beam of light, that it gains the power to cut through resistance and bring vision to life. Quiet focus is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of purpose. It is the deliberate decision to silence the world so that the internal compass can be heard. That inner voice, the voice of vision, speaks in whispers. It cannot compete with the shouting of the crowd, the chaos of the world, or the noise of unnecessary conversation. The man who seeks to protect his dream must first create space for that voice to speak. That space is silence, and that silence is guarded with discipline. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. It does not come with force, it comes with convenience. It enters through the open doors of unguarded time, unfocused energy, and misplaced priorities. Distraction is seductive. It offers comfort, entertainment, and the illusion of progress. But beneath it all, it is theft. It steals the hours needed for mastery. It drains the energy required for momentum. It blinds the eyes that must see clearly, and worst of all, it smothers the fire of the dream slowly, until one day it is gone. The winner knows this, and so he defends his dream with quiet focus. He does not allow the trivial to become urgent. He does not allow the voices of others to drown out the responsibility he has to his own future. And then there is doubt, the silent killer of greatness. Doubt does not always come from others. Often it arises from within. But when you expose your dreams too early, when you invite others into your inner vision without discernment, you give that doubt a megaphone. You allow the fears and failures of others to infect your belief. What once was pure becomes polluted. What once was certain becomes questioned, and so the winner protects his dream from unnecessary exposure. He knows that in the early stages, the vision is still vulnerable. It must be fed with belief and surrounded with silence until it becomes strong enough to withstand scrutiny. Only then can it be revealed. When you focus quietly, you build a sanctuary for belief. You create a fortress where doubt cannot easily enter. You establish routines and rituals that train your mind to return to what matters. The work becomes sacred. The process becomes more than just a means to an end. It becomes the shield that keeps your purpose alive. Every day that you return to the task with full attention, you reinforce the dream. You tell it, "I have not forgotten you." You tell yourself, "This matters more than anything that distracts me." And slowly the dream gains weight. It becomes more real. It moves from a thought to a blueprint, and then to a foundation, and all of this happens, not in the spotlight, not in the noise, but in the quiet corners of focus. A man who understands the power of this principle does not need the world to understand him. He is not disturbed by the fact that others cannot see what he sees. He does not seek to explain or defend his choices. He understands that the dream was given to him, not to others, and so he walks the path alone, not out of loneliness, but out of clarity. He has something to protect, he has something worth building, and until it is built, it must remain within the guarded circle of quiet focus. We live in an age where attention is the most valuable commodity, and most give it away freely. Every moment spent in distraction is a withdrawal from the account of purpose. The winner treats his attention like gold. He invests it wisely. He monitors it carefully. He does not allow it to be wasted on things that do not build him. He chooses where it goes, and because of this, he multiplies his power. While others are entertained, he is evolving. While others are scrolling, he is studying. While others chase everything, he is focused on one thing, and that one thing moves mountains. There is also something profoundly spiritual about quiet focus. It aligns a man with something greater than himself. It connects his mind, his spirit, and his willpower into a single force. This unity of self gives him access to an inner drive that the distracted man will never touch. The distracted man is divided. He is pulled in all directions. He makes progress in none. But the focused man, he becomes unstoppable, because every part of him is aligned with one goal. Every thought, every action, every effort moves in the same direction. And this unity, born from silence and discipline, turns the invisible into the visible. You will find that in the lives of every remarkable person there was a season of isolation, a season where they pulled back from the world, not out of retreat, but out of strategy. In that season they were not lost, they were focused, they were sharpening the blade, they were aligning their soul, they were building something the world was not yet ready to see, and when they returned, they brought with them something undeniable, something that could no longer be ignored, but none of it would have been possible without that season of quiet focus. The world often misunderstands the silent one. It sees stillness as inactivity, solitude as weakness, and privacy as secrecy. But the winner is not concerned with misunderstanding. He is concerned with building, and anything worth building must be protected from premature exposure. A skyscraper does not begin with scaffolding. It begins deep underground, where no one sees, where no one claps, where no one is watching. The foundation must be laid in quiet. The support beams must be tested in silence, and only when it is ready does it rise into view. This is why quiet focus is not just a practice. It is a philosophy. It is a way of life. It is the belief that greatness does not grow in noise, that purpose must be protected, that the mind must be trained, that your dream is your responsibility and yours alone. No one will guard it for you. No one will filter the distractions for you. No one will build it if you do not. There will always be temptation to break the silence, to seek validation, to dilute your energy across too many things. But every time you return to focus, you reclaim your power. You say to the world, I know what I am here to do, and I will not be moved. And that kind of resolve, that kind of discipline is rare. It is the mark of the one who finishes what he starts, the one who protects his dream until it becomes reality. There is a misconception in the modern world that confidence must be loud, that to prove one's strength a man must speak often, take center stage, and demand the attention of others. But nothing could be further from the truth. The deepest confidence is not flamboyant. It does not need a platform. It does not need approval. True confidence is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It is not revealed in noise. It is revealed in action. A man who possesses true confidence does not enter a room needing to prove anything. He does not posture. He does not compete for validation. He carries a presence that speaks louder than words. People notice it not because he forces them to, but because he radiates a calm certainty that draws attention without trying. That is the difference between performance and presence. Performance shouts. Presence resonates. Confidence that announces itself is often rooted in insecurity. It seeks reassurance. It asks the world, am I enough? But the man of substance already knows. He does not need the world to echo his worth back to him. His value is not up for debate. It is not shaped by opinions. It is not rented by applause. It is owned, fully, deeply, and privately. He does not need to declare who he is because he is too busy becoming who he is meant to be. When a man knows his path, he does not need to speak of it. He walks it quietly, relentlessly, with purpose. While others talk of their goals, he builds. While others post their plans, he prepares. While others seek to be seen, he sharpens his skills in solitude. His silence is not emptiness. It is discipline. His quiet is not passivity. It is maturity. The deeper his confidence, the less he feels compelled to perform. There is strength in restraint. The man who can control his tongue, who does not speak out of impulse, who does not need to be seen, is the man who cannot be manipulated. He is governed by vision, not vanity. He moves according to his own clock, not to the noise of the crowd. That is real power, and it is a power that does not have to raise its voice to be heard. True confidence is not reactionary. It does not rise and fall based on circumstances. It is rooted in preparation, in experience, and in knowing that no matter what comes, the foundation is strong. It is not the loudest man in the room who commands the most respect. It is the one who does not need to speak to prove he belongs. His presence alone demands attention, because it carries with it the weight of purpose, clarity, and quiet conviction. You will often find that those who constantly need to assert themselves, to remind others of their greatness, are filled with doubt beneath the surface. They mask their insecurity with noise. But the one who has done the work, who has built himself from the inside out, carries no such need. His results speak for him, his actions validate his beliefs. He does not seek to be admired. He seeks to be excellent, and that pursuit keeps him grounded. Confidence without announcement is the product of alignment. When a man's thoughts, actions, and beliefs are in harmony, he becomes immovable. He is not shaken by criticism, nor inflated by praise. He has calibrated his self-worth to his mission, not to the opinions of the world. He does not walk into a room to prove himself. He walks into the room to contribute, to lead, to build, to execute. And because his confidence is not dependent on others, it is never at risk of being taken away. The world will try to convince you that to be confident is to be loud, flamboyant, and dominant. But the wisest men in history understood the opposite. They practiced the art of stillness. They spoke only when necessary. They understood the power of words and used them sparingly. When they spoke, it mattered, not because they forced others to listen, but because their silence had already spoken volumes. People knew that behind every word was a reservoir of thought, reflection, and intention. This is the nature of true confidence. It is not rushed. It is not desperate. It does not need to compete. It is comfortable in its own skin. It thrives in the background. It prefers the shadows because it does not depend on spotlight. It is not interested in comparisons. It does not measure itself against others. It measures itself against its own standard. That is the source of its power. You will know a confident man not by how much he speaks of himself, but by how little he needs to. His accomplishments will be discovered, not declared. His worth will be felt, not flaunted. He does not chase opportunities. Opportunities are drawn to him. He does not persuade with noise. He influences through presence. He does not declare his greatness. He demonstrates it in how he lives, how he works, how he treats others. He does not waste energy convincing people who do not understand him. He is too focused on his craft, too loyal to his purpose, too aligned with his mission to be distracted by the need to be liked. That is not arrogance. It is clarity. That is not coldness. It is self-respect. Confidence is not the absence of humility. In fact, the truly confident man is deeply humble. Because he knows who he is, he has nothing to prove. Because he is secure in his foundation, he is not threatened by others. And because he understands the value of silence, he speaks with precision and power when he chooses to. There is an invisible authority that surrounds the confident man. He does not fight for attention. He does not sell himself. He allows the results to do the talking. His demeanor says, "I know who I am," and that quiet assurance is more compelling than any speech. People trust those who are grounded, who do not overcompensate, who are comfortable being still in a world that never stops talking. And so the man who is truly confident is patient. He is willing to wait. He does not rush to reveal. He allows his work to build, his skills to compound, and his vision to manifest. He does not announce every milestone along the way. He stays the course, and when he arrives, the world will ask, where did he come from? But those who know the principles of success will understand. He was always there, building quietly, mastering his mind, and preparing for the moment when noise would no longer be necessary. True confidence is timeless. It does not fade with trends or external recognition. It is built on the inner truth that cannot be taken away by rejection, failure, or delay. It is born from the process, not the praise. It is cultivated in challenge, not comfort. And once it is formed, it becomes the quiet force that drives a man to reach heights that others can only admire from a distance. The man who is destined for greatness knows something the average mind often forgets. Growth is not a performance, it is a process. It does not thrive in the spotlight, but in the shadows. It is not fed by applause, but by solitude. The winner understands this law of life, and he respects it. He does not chase recognition. He does not need an audience. He seeks only progress, and he knows that progress requires privacy. Applause is intoxicating. It feeds the ego. It creates a sense of momentum, even when none exists. It gives the illusion of success before success has actually been earned. But the applause of the crowd is not proof of development. It is merely noise. If you rely on it to fuel your journey, you will find yourself hollow when the clapping stops. You will become addicted to being seen, and in doing so, you will lose your ability to grow in silence. Solitude, on the other hand, is the soil of transformation. It is in solitude that the mind becomes sharp. It is in solitude that the heart becomes clear. It is in solitude that a man meets himself without distortion. There are no distractions there, no praise, no criticism, just the raw truth. And it is in that rawness that strength is born. Growth demands that a man sit with his flaws, confront his fears, examine his motives, and refine his character. This work is not glamorous. It is not photogenic. It cannot be broadcast for likes or shared for approval. It is deep, personal, and often painful, and because of this many avoid it. They prefer the applause of performance to the discomfort of solitude. But the winner knows that real transformation requires isolation. You cannot carry everyone's eyes and your own soul at the same time. You must choose. When a seed is planted, it disappears beneath the earth. There is no applause, no one claps for the root, no one praises the process, but in that darkness something powerful is taking shape. The seed is splitting, breaking, pushing against the soil, reaching for light. And only after it has anchored itself in silence does it rise. Growth works the same way. It must begin underground, unseen, uncelebrated. That is nature's law, and nature does not lie. The winner does not resist this process. He embraces it. He understands that if he is always performing for the world, he will never build anything of substance, because performance demands energy that should be spent on progress. It distracts from the work that matters. And so he retreats from the noise, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom, not because he has nothing to show, but because he has everything to build. There is a season in every winner's journey where he must go unseen. He must pull back. He must step away from applause, from validation, from the desire to be noticed. In that season he works, he studies, he reflects, he builds discipline. He carves out new strength not to show it, but to possess it. He understands that applause is fleeting, but growth is permanent, that applause fades quickly, but character lasts forever. Solitude also breeds clarity. It silences the noise long enough for a man to hear his own mind. In solitude, he can discern his own voice from the voices of others. He can separate truth from trend. He can focus not on being liked, but on being aligned. This alignment is crucial, because without it, growth is misguided. You can build an impressive life that is hollow inside if you never stop to ask, am I becoming who I am meant to be? That question cannot be answered in a crowd. It must be answered alone. Solitude requires courage. It requires the strength to step away from comfort and into the unknown. It forces a man to become his own compass. It demands that he believe in his vision without anyone clapping for it. It teaches him how to be loyal to his own path when no one is watching. And that loyalty is the foundation of greatness. For what is a man if he only works when others are looking? What is his growth if it is built on performance? There is a silence that terrifies the average man. It is the silence where there is no feedback, no confirmation, no spotlight. But to the winner, that silence is sacred. It is the sound of focus, the sound of internal alignment, the sound of evolution. He welcomes it. He finds in it the rare atmosphere where excellence can be cultivated. He learns to depend not on external motivation, but on inner discipline. He trains his will, sharpens his vision, and strengthens his soul in that space. When a man grows in solitude, he becomes unshakable, because he has already faced himself. He has already refined his foundation. He is not building a life for applause. He is building it for purpose. And purpose does not need permission. Purpose does not require attention. Purpose simply demands commitment, and the man who commits in private will always emerge in power. The greatest breakthroughs in history were not announced. They were created in silence. The artist painted in solitude before the gallery ever saw his work. The writer bled onto the page alone before the book ever reached readers. The builder envisioned the structure in silence before it ever stood. Every masterpiece begins where no one sees. Every transformation begins where no one claps, and every winner understands this rhythm of life. If you want to grow, you must step away from the crowd. You must give yourself permission to disappear for a while. You must be willing to become a mystery, to be misunderstood, to be unseen, not because you are failing, but because you are forming, and when the time is right, your growth will be undeniable, not because you said so, but because it will be evident in everything you do. That is the reward of solitude, the development of substance that does not fade. In solitude, you will learn the truth about yourself. You will uncover weaknesses you've ignored. You will confront habits that no longer serve you. You will sharpen skills that require time, patience, and repetition. You will develop a strength that is not loud, but lethal, and that strength will be the reason you succeed when others fall apart. Do not fear the silence. Do not seek to escape it. Lean into it. Let it teach you. Let it strip away the parts of you that are performative. Let it deepen your identity so that when you do return to the world, you are not performing. You are simply being. And in that being you will carry a weight that no applause can give you, a quiet confidence, a deep knowing, a power that cannot be taken away. This is why the winner stays quiet. This is why he chooses solitude. Because he knows that applause is sweet, but it cannot build him. Applause is exciting, but it cannot shape his destiny. Solitude may be hard, but it is holy, and in that sacred space he becomes who he was born to be. Ladies and gentlemen, the line between success and failure is not drawn by talent alone, nor is it decided by luck. It is marked by a single truth: some people move while others talk. The winners of this world do not spend their energy explaining what they will do. They simply do it. They do not require validation before they begin. They do not announce their plans to earn approval. They act, they execute, they progress. While others remain still, they take the first step and then the next. That is how winning is done. The average man is addicted to explanation. He wants to be understood before he is ready to act. He believes that talking about his dreams is somehow the same as chasing them. He gathers people around him to share his ideas, hoping that someone's approval will give him the confidence to begin. But that is not how confidence works. Confidence is built through movement, not permission. You cannot explain your way into excellence. You must earn it through work, through sweat, through repetition. Winners understand this law. They understand that life rewards those who do, not those who justify. The world does not move for intentions. It moves for initiative. The mountain does not care about your reasons. It only responds to your climb. Winners don't spend their time convincing others of their potential. They convert their potential into progress. They take responsibility. They take action. And in doing so, They separate themselves from the rest. There will always be people who explain why now is not the right time, why the market is unstable, why they're not ready, why their past justifies their inaction, and every time they explain, they delay. Every explanation becomes a chain, a mental chain, an emotional chain, a spiritual chain, and with every link they grow more comfortable standing still. But the winner breaks those chains with action. He knows that the perfect time does not exist, that waiting for clarity only creates confusion. So he moves forward, trusting that clarity will come through motion, not meditation. The man who acts understands something the man who explains does not, that the only way to build belief is to begin. Talk does not build belief. Excuses do not build belief. Evidence builds belief. Results build belief. Discipline builds belief, and all of those things are born from action. The man who acts builds momentum. He builds courage, he builds proof, and that proof reinforces his purpose. It strengthens his resolve, it fuels his fire, but none of it can be accessed through talk, only through doing. It is easy to remain in a place of theory, to think, to plan, to analyze, to talk. And yes, there is a place for preparation. But preparation is only useful if it leads to execution. Too many people prepare forever, hoping to remove all risk before they begin. But winners understand risk cannot be eliminated, only managed, and the only way to manage risk is to face it head on, to take action in spite of fear, to move forward in the face of uncertainty. This is the price of winning. Movement before mastery, courage before certainty, action before explanation. The winner does not wait for every answer. He begins with what he knows and learns the rest along the way. He understands that progress comes from feedback, and feedback comes from doing. Talking about the work cannot replace doing the work. Talking about the vision cannot replace building the vision. You cannot talk your way into greatness. You must act your way there. The man who explains is often more interested in appearance than in achievement. He wants others to see him as ambitious, as thoughtful, as strategic. But the winner does not care how he appears. He cares what he becomes. He understands that the greatest proof of ambition is not found in how well he can describe his dreams, but in how fiercely he pursues them. Talk is temporary, legacy is permanent, and legacy is built through labor. A man can explain failure in 1,000 ways. He can list the reasons. He can point to the obstacles. He can cite the timing. But the winner does not explain failure. He studies it, he learns from it, and then he tries again. He does not get stuck in the story. He rewrites the story with his next step. That is the power of action. It gives you authority over your own narrative. It gives you the ability to evolve, not just excuse. Winners also understand that not every action needs to be perfect, that waiting for the perfect move often leads to no move at all. They are willing to act imperfectly. They are willing to fail forward, because in every action, even the flawed ones, there is information, there is growth. There is refinement. Meanwhile, those who wait for the ideal conditions miss their opportunity. They remain behind, perfecting their explanations while the winner is out in the field, gaining experience. There is no substitute for experience. It teaches what theory cannot. It humbles. It clarifies. It develops character. Action carves you into the kind of man who can handle success, because success is not just about skill, it's about capacity. And capacity is expanded only through challenge, through movement. Through resistance, the man who acts stretches himself. He becomes more than he was. The man who explains remains the same, trapped in the cycle of potential without proof. Winners take responsibility for their direction. They do not hand the pen of their story to circumstances or other people. They write it themselves, word by word, action by action. They do not wait to be chosen. They choose themselves. They do not wait to be invited. They build their own table. They act when others hesitate. They risk when others retreat. They understand that nothing changes until they do. So they move, and the world adjusts to them. To act when you don't feel ready is to trust in your own ability to grow. It is to believe that even if you do not know everything, you will learn what you need. This is how winners think. They trust in the power of beginning. They know that beginning is the most courageous step a man can take. Because it is in the beginning that all doubts are loudest, all fears are strongest, all excuses are nearest, but once you begin, you silence them with progress, you prove them wrong through persistence. The man who moves without explanation confuses the world. They do not understand why he does not seek approval, why he does not justify his steps, but he is not concerned with being understood. He is concerned with being effective. His energy is precious, and he will not waste it explaining himself to those who do not share his vision. He lets results speak. He lets outcomes prove his choices. He lets time reveal the wisdom of his action. That is why winners stay quiet. That is why they act. Because every minute spent justifying a dream is a minute not spent building it. Every sentence of explanation is time taken from execution. Winners value their time too much to waste it explaining what will soon be obvious. Their work will make the statement. Their discipline will draw the line. Their success will speak on their behalf. And so the winner moves, he acts, he advances, while others remain stuck in explanation, in waiting, in wishing, in wondering. He takes the leap. He builds the bridge, he becomes the proof, because he knows, as all great men know, that life rewards the doer, not the dreamer, the man who acts, not the man who justifies.